Good morning, scholars. And today we're going to do Chapter 8, Lesson 6, Compare Fractions. In order to compare fractions that have different denominators, we need to create fractions that have the same denominator. So to do that, we are going to have to find the least common denominator, which we call the LCD. So lots of abbreviations in this chapter, right? We had GCF, we had LCM, and now we have LCD. And LCD is very similar to least common multiple. So it says here that the least common denominator is the LCM of the denominators of the fractions. You can use the least common denominator to compare fractions. So in order to do that, let's look at example 1 on page 583. It says Trevor made 2 out of 3 goals and Tyler made 5 out of 6. Who made the greater fraction of goals? So Trevor made 2 out of 3, right? We make it a fraction. And Tyler made 5 out of 6. So step 1 is going to be find the least common multiple of the denominators. Okay, so I have 3 and 6. So I would write 3 and I would write 6. And maybe you already see what the least common denominator is. And if you do, that is great. So the multiples of 3 are 3, 6. Oh, I can stop right there. Look at that. My second multiple is the second number, right? So their least common multiple is 6. So that means that I need to change my denominators so that they are 6s. Change the denominators so that they are 6s. So I am going to, in this case, multiply this fraction by a value of 1 so that it equals a fraction with the 6 on the bottom. Now this one already has a 6 on the bottom, so I don't have to touch this one because this one already has a 6. But if it did not, then I would also have to multiply this fraction by a value of 1. So I have to think to myself, okay, 3 times what equals 6? Well, it was my second multiple, right? That's times 1 and that's times 2, which tells me I have to multiply by 2 over 2. Remember, when I'm multiplying by a value of 1, I have to multiply the denominator by the same number that I'm multiplying the numerator. So I would do 3 times 2, I already know that's 6, and 2 times 2 is 4. So I know that Trevor had 4 sixths and Tyler made 5 sixths. Well, when the denominator is the same, then I am just looking at the numerators, and 5 is greater than 4. So Tyler scored a greater fraction of the baskets, or goals, goals. So I would say Tyler scored more goals because 5 sixths is greater, I guess I could have used the symbol then, than 2 thirds. Okay? And that's how I'd write my answer, right? Because word problems need word answers. Okay, let's try example 2 from 584. Example 2 says to compare 3/5 and 1/2 using the least common denominator. So the first thing I have to do is find the least common multiple of my 2 denominators. And maybe you already see it. So let me list my multiples. I have 5, 10, and if I am using my multiplication brain, I might see that 10 is going to be a multiple of 2, so I can probably stop there. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yes, it is. So now I'm going to take those and I'm going to multiply, because neither one of these is 10, so I have to change both of them. So 3/5 times some value of 1 is going to equal a fraction with the denominator of 10. And 1/2 times some value of 1 is going to equal a fraction with the denominator of 10. So now I have to think, okay, 5 times what equals 10? Well, 5 times 2. So 2 over 2, right? This I have to do the same on the top as the bottom so that it is a value of 1. 3 times 2 is 6, and 5 times 2 is 10. Then for the second fraction, 1/2, I have to do the same thing. 2 times what equals 10? Well, 2 times 5 equals 10. And so whatever I multiply the denominator by, I also have to multiply the numerator by to make equivalent fractions. So 2 times 5 is 10, and 1 times 5 is 5. So I can see here that 6/10 is greater than 5/10. So if I write it in a comparing sentence here, in a number sentence, I would write it as 6/10 is greater than 5/10. Would be how I write that, right? With the greater than symbol in my number sentence here. Okay. All right. I hope that is helpful. Have a good day.